Pain. That was the first thing Mace Windu felt. Not the fall. Not the impact. Just endless, consuming pain. He opened his eyes to darkness. Not the darkness of unconsciousness, but the perpetual shadow of Coruscant's lower levels, 5,000 stories below the surface where sunlight never reached. His body screamed. Ribs cracked. Burns from Palpatine's lightning covered his arms and chest. And his right hand gone. Severed by his own lightsaber when Anakin betrayed him. Anakin. The name burned hotter than any wound. Mace forced himself to sit up, every movement agony. He'd crashed through industrial platforms, debris, and finally into a waste processing center. The Force had cushioned his fall, barely. Any normal being would have died instantly. But Mace Windu was no normal being. Around him, the underworld stirred. Scavengers eyed him from the shadows. Desperate beings who'd strip a body for credits. But when Mace met their gaze, even injured, even broken, they backed away. They sensed what he was. A predator. A survivor. Using the Force, Mace pulled himself to his feet. His left hand trembled as he touched his belt. His lightsaber was gone. Lost somewhere in the fall. He was weaponless, wounded, alone. Above him, through layers of metal and stone, he felt it. A disturbance in the Force so massive it shook the galaxy itself. The Jedi Temple was burning. His fellow masters were dying. Order 66 had been executed. And Palpatine, Darth Sidious, had won. Mace's jaw tightened. The Council had been blind. He'd seen Anakin's darkness, warned Yoda, but they'd hesitated. Trusted too much. And now the Jedi Order was paying the price. But Mace Windu wasn't dead. He stumbled through the underworld, using the Force to cloak his presence. Every step was torture, but he pushed forward. Survival first. Then healing. Then vengeance. He found a medical droid in an abandoned clinic, half-functional but enough. It cauterized his wounds and fitted a crude prosthetic to his right arm. Not elegant. Not pretty. But functional. Mace looked at his reflection in a cracked mirror. Burned. Scarred. Changed. The Jedi Master he'd been had died in Palpatine's office. What emerged from that underworld was something different. Something darker. Something that would wait and watch, and when the time was right, strike back. The Empire rose fast and absolute. Within weeks, the Republic became a military dictatorship. Chancellor Palpatine, now Emperor Palpatine, commanded legions of clone troopers who'd turned on their Jedi generals without hesitation. The betrayal was complete. Systematic. Devastating. Mace Windu watched it all from the shadows. He moved through the Outer Rim, staying one step ahead of Imperial patrols. His Force presence was hidden, suppressed so deeply that even other Jedi couldn't sense him. He'd learned this technique from ancient texts, a survival method the Council had deemed too close to darkness. Now it kept him alive. He heard the reports. Jedi Masters executed on distant worlds. Padawans hunted down like animals. The Temple's archives burned. Thousands of years of knowledge gone. And leading the hunt was Darth Vader. Mace felt him through the Force sometimes. That familiar presence twisted into something monstrous. Anakin Skywalker had become the Empire's enforcer, slaughtering the very people he'd once called family. How could you fall so far? Mace whispered one night, meditating in a cave on Ryloth. How could I have been so blind? The guilt ate at him. He'd seen Anakin's darkness. Sensed it. But the Council had insisted on caution, on trust, on giving the Chosen One time to find balance. That trust had destroyed them all. Mace tracked Vader's movements through the galactic holonet. Every Jedi death was catalogued, studied. Ki-Adi-Mundi, executed on Megiddo. Aayla Secura, killed on Felucia. Even younglings, children, slaughtered in the temple. The rage inside Mace grew with each name. His connection to Vaapad, his unique fighting style that channeled darkness into strength, pulsed constantly. The line between light and dark blurred more each day. He wanted to face Vader, to confront his failure, to make Anakin pay for his betrayal. But he couldn't. Not yet. Vader was powerful, enhanced by his suit, driven by hate. And behind him stood Palpatine, the most dangerous Sith Lord in a millennium. If Mace revealed himself now, he'd die. And his death would mean nothing. So he waited. Trained in secret. Pushed his body beyond its limits despite his injuries. His prosthetic hand learned to grip a lightsaber he'd built from salvaged parts. Purple like before, but the crystal sang with a darker tone now. 5 years passed. Then 10. The Empire tightened its grip. Jedi became myths. Legends. Extinct. But then Mace felt something. A ripple in the Force from a desert world called Tatooine. Something powerful. Something familiar. Tatooine was a wasteland. 2 suns. Endless sand. The kind of place the Empire ignored because nothing of value existed there. Perfect for hiding. Mace Windu arrived in secret, his ship landing in the dune sea far from settlements. He'd felt the Force signature from across the galaxy, raw, untrained, but incredibly strong. Stronger than any youngling he'd encountered in decades. It reminded him of Anakin. That thought both drew him forward and filled him with dread. He tracked the presence to a moisture farm owned by Owen and Beru Lars. Using the Force to cloak himself, Mace observed from a distance. And then he saw him. A young man, maybe 19 years old. Blonde hair. Blue eyes. Working the vaporators with the kind of restless energy that spoke of dreams bigger than desert farming. Luke Skywalker. Mace's breath caught. Anakin's son. Hidden here all these years. The resemblance was undeniable. The same features, the same Force potential burning like a sun. But there was something different too. Where Anakin had been consumed by fear and ambition, this boy seemed hopeful. Innocent. Untouched by the darkness that had claimed his father. Kenobi, Mace muttered. You hid him here. Right under Vader's nose. It was brilliant, really. Tatooine was Anakin's home world, the last place he'd ever willingly return. The memories were too painful, too full of loss. Mace watched Luke for 3 days. Studied him. The boy was strong in the Force, but completely unaware of it. He used it instinctively, faster reflexes, better aim, sensing danger seconds before it arrived. Natural abilities that would make him extraordinary with proper training. Training Mace could provide. But should he? The Council's way had failed. Obi-Wan was hiding, probably on this very planet, doing nothing while the Empire crushed the galaxy. The old Jedi Order's philosophy of peace and defense had led to their extinction. This boy needed something different. Something the old masters would have feared to teach. Vaapad. The 7th form of lightsaber combat. The style that walked the razor's edge between light and dark, channeling aggression and darkness into a weapon against evil. Mace had mastered it. He could teach Luke to do the same. The boy could become what Anakin should have been. A weapon against the Sith. A tool of justice. Or he could become another Vader. The risk was enormous. But doing nothing meant the Empire won forever. Mace made his decision. He would train Luke Skywalker. And he would make Vader pay for everything. Your father was a Jedi Knight. Luke stared at the scarred man who'd appeared at his doorstep. Burned skin. Prosthetic hand. Eyes that had seen too much. My father was a navigator on a spice freighter, Luke said, repeating Uncle Owen's lie. He died. Your father was Anakin Skywalker, and I knew him. Mace's voice was granite. I can teach you what he never learned. I can make you stronger than he ever was. 3 days later, Luke stood in the dune sea, a training lightsaber in his hand. The Jedi Order taught defense, Mace said, circling him. Patience. Serenity. They believed emotion led to darkness. He activated his own purple blade. They were wrong. Emotion is power. Controlled. Directed. Channeled. Luke's training was brutal from day one. Mace pushed him to exhaustion, forcing him to fight while angry, afraid, desperate. Every negative emotion became fuel for the lightsaber in his hand. Again. Mace barked, his blade crashing against Luke's. Feel your frustration. Use it. Make it serve you. Luke's strikes grew faster. Harder. His blue blade moved with aggression the old Jedi would have condemned. But it worked. He could feel the power flowing through him, raw and intoxicating. Good, Mace said. But control it. You ride the darkness like a wave. Let it pull you under and you drown. Master it, and you become unstoppable. They trained in secret. Luke told his aunt and uncle he was scouting for water deposits. Mace taught him Vaapad, the 7th form that only Mace himself had truly mastered. A style so dangerous that it had turned lesser Jedi to the dark side. But Luke was strong. Stronger even than Anakin had been at his age. The darkness didn't consume him. He walked the edge, balanced, learning to draw power from anger without being ruled by it. Why did the Jedi Order fall? Luke asked one night, exhausted and bruised. Mace was quiet for a long moment. Because they were afraid of their own strength. They tied their hands with rules and codes while the Sith embraced power without limit. His scarred face hardened. I won't make that mistake with you. But not everyone agreed with Mace's methods. In a cave in the Junland Wastes, Obi-Wan Kenobi sensed Luke's training through the Force. Felt the aggressive style, the controlled darkness. And Obi-Wan knew exactly who was teaching him. No, he whispered. Not like this. Not with Vaapad. Mace, what have you done? The confrontation happened at dawn. Obi-Wan appeared at their training site, emerging from the desert like a ghost. He looked older than Mace remembered, weathered by Tatooine's suns and the weight of failure. Mace Windu, Obi-Wan said quietly. I thought you were dead. I was, Mace replied. What you see now is what survived. Luke stood between them, confused. Master Kenobi? You knew my father too? Obi-Wan's eyes never left Mace. Luke, what has he been teaching you? Form 7. Vaapad. How to fall to the dark side, Obi-Wan interrupted, anger creeping into his voice. He turned to Mace. Vaapad? You're teaching Anakin's son the most dangerous form? The style that feeds on darkness. The style that wins, Mace shot back. Your way failed, Kenobi. Peace and patience got us massacred. The Empire won because we refused to fight with everything we had. And your way gave us Vader. Obi-Wan's voice rose. Aggression, emotion, channeling darkness. That's what turned Anakin. And now you're doing the same to his son. Luke's hand moved to his lightsaber. I'm not turning to anything. I'm learning to fight. To be strong enough to matter. You're learning to hate, Obi-Wan said softly. Mace is using you. Shaping you into a weapon for his revenge against Vader and the Emperor. Mace's jaw tightened. The boy deserves the truth. His father fell because the council was weak. Because we taught him to suppress his emotions instead of controlling them. I won't repeat that mistake. Control? Obi-Wan laughed bitterly. You're teaching him to embrace anger and call it control. To walk the edge of darkness and pretend he won't fall. Just like Anakin did. I'm not my father, Luke said, his voice hard. Both masters looked at him. In that moment, they saw different things. Obi-Wan saw Anakin, young, powerful, and one step from falling. Mace saw a weapon finally forged sharp enough to strike back at the Empire. Luke, Obi-Wan said gently, come with me. Let me teach you the proper way. The Jedi way. The dead way, Mace corrected. I'm teaching him to survive. To win. Something you've given up on. Luke stood silent, torn between two paths. But before he could choose, all three Jedi felt it. A massive disturbance in the Force. A presence they all recognized. Vader. Coming to Tatooine. The Star Destroyer. Eclipsed Tatooine's twin suns. Darth Vader stood on the bridge, his breathing echoing through the command deck. For years, he'd felt nothing from this miserable desert world. But now, there, he said, pointing to coordinates in the Dune Sea. Jedi. Multiple presences. His fist clenched. After 19 years of hunting, of slaughtering every Jedi he found, more had appeared on his home world. The insult was personal, but there was something else. A presence he didn't recognize. Young, powerful, familiar in a way that made his mechanical heart race. Prepare my shuttle. In the desert, Mace and Obi-Wan stood back to back with Luke between them. He's coming for you, Mace said to Luke. He's sensed your power. Once Vader knows you exist, he won't stop. Then we run, Obi-Wan said. Get Luke off-world. Hide him, hide. Mace's voice was sharp. We've hidden for 19 years while the Empire grew stronger. No more running. You want to fight Vader? Here? Now. Obi-Wan shook his head. He's more machine than man. Powerful. Driven by hate. We barely escaped him before. I didn't escape, Mace said coldly. I fell. And I've spent every day since preparing for this. Vader's shuttle landed 300 meters away. The ramp descended, and the Dark Lord emerged, 7 feet of black armor and compressed rage. He saw them, 3 figures standing in defiance. And then he felt it, the young one, the Force singing around him like, Padme, Vader whispered. His son. Somehow, impossibly, his child had survived. Luke Skywalker, Vader's voice boomed across the sand. I am your father. Come with me. Together we can overthrow the Emperor and rule the galaxy as father and son. Luke's hand went to his lightsaber. My father is dead. You're the monster who killed him. No. Vader stepped closer. I am what your father became, and you will become it too. The power in you demands it. I feel your anger, your aggression. You've been trained by Windu in the dark arts. You're already walking my path. Mace ignited his purple blade. The boy isn't going anywhere with you, Anakin. Vader's helmet turned toward him. Windu, I should have finished you in Palpatine's office. You'll get your chance. 3 lightsabers ignited. Purple, blue, red. The battle for Luke Skywalker's soul was about to begin. The duel was chaos. Vader's red blade crashed against Mace's purple in strikes that shook the ground. Each blow carried the weight of betrayal, guilt, and hate. Mace moved like water turning to lightning, Vaapad in its purest form, feeding on Vader's darkness and turning it back against him. You were my failure, Mace snarled, pressing the attack. I saw your darkness and did nothing. That ends today. You saw nothing. Vader roared, force-pushing Mace backward. The Council's blindness destroyed the Jedi, not I. Obi-Wan engaged from the side, his blue blade moving in perfect defensive circles. Sorisu, the ultimate protection form. He didn't attack, just deflected, creating openings for Mace. But Vader was too strong. Too fast. The suit's enhancements made him a living weapon. He fought both masters simultaneously without tiring. Luke watched, frozen. His training screamed at him to attack, to use his anger, to channel the darkness like Mace taught him and strike Vader down. But Obi-Wan's words echoed too. You're learning to hate. Was he? Luke, Vader called, blocking Mace's strike. You feel the power in you. The anger. Use it. Together we can end this war. Don't listen to him. Mace shouted. He's trying to corrupt you like he corrupted himself. And you're not. Obi-Wan yelled at Mace. Teaching him Vaapad? You're doing the same thing, just calling it by a different name. Luke's hand trembled on his lightsaber. 3 paths before him. 3 futures. Mace's path. Embrace the controlled darkness. Use rage as a weapon. Become strong enough to kill Vader and challenge the Emperor. But risk falling just like Anakin did. Vader's path. Join his father in the dark side. Rule through fear and power. Accept that peace. Comes only through domination. Or something else. Something the Jedi Council and the Sith both missed. Luke ignited his lightsaber. Blue. Pure. And stepped between them. Stop. All 3 combatants paused, shocked. I'm not choosing your paths, Luke said. Not Jedi. Not Sith. Not vengeance or domination. There has to be another way. Mace's eyes widened. Luke, don't be a fool. Vader raised his blade. Then you choose to die. But Luke stood firm. No. I choose to live. And I choose to believe my father is still in there somewhere. That Anakin Skywalker can be saved. Vader's breathing hitched. And in that moment, everything changed. You think words can save him? Mace's voice was harsh. Anakin Skywalker is dead. Only Vader remains. No, Luke said quietly. I feel it. The conflict in him. The good that's still there. Vader's lightsaber wavered. For just a second. But they all saw it. Impossible, Vader said. I destroyed Anakin. Killed him on Mustafar when I embraced my destiny. Then why haven't you struck me down? Luke challenged. I'm defenseless. Rejecting your offer. By Sith law, I should be dead. But you're hesitating. Vader's breathing filled the silence. Imperial shuttles appeared on the horizon. Stormtroopers. Reinforcements Vader had called. Within minutes, they'd be surrounded. We need to leave, Obi-Wan said urgently. Now. But Mace didn't move. He looked at Luke, really looked at him, and saw something he'd missed in his decades of rage. Hope. Not the naive hope of the old Jedi, but something stronger. Something that refused to accept that people were beyond saving. I've spent 19 years preparing to kill him, Mace said slowly. Training. Planning. Every day thinking about how I'd make Vader pay for his betrayal. He deactivated his lightsaber. But you're right. I became what I hated. A weapon. Nothing more. Master Windu. Go, Mace said to Luke and Obi-Wan. I'll hold them here. Give you time to escape. No, Luke protested. I won't leave you. Mace smiled, the first genuine smile in 19 years. You already taught me something more valuable than any technique, Luke. You reminded me what being a Jedi actually means. Not vengeance. Not rage. But believing people can choose a better path. He turned to Vader. I was wrong about you, Anakin. Not about sensing your darkness, that was real, but about thinking you were beyond redemption. If Luke believes you can be saved, maybe he sees something I was too angry to see. Vader stood frozen, lightsaber still active but lowered. Luke, Mace said, forget Vaapad. Forget everything I taught you about using darkness. Find your own way. Make it better than ours. The Imperial shuttles landed. Stormtroopers poured out. Mace reignited his purple blade and charged, not toward Vader, but toward the troops. His lightsaber spun in brilliant arcs, buying precious seconds. Obi-Wan grabbed Luke. We must go. Honor his sacrifice. They ran for their ship. Behind them, Mace Windu fought alone against impossible odds. And Vader watched them go, conflict tearing at his mechanical heart.